This is going against the grain, but this is a fine metal file, so maybe I can get away with it. One thing that makes this a little bit easier is this is white steel, unfinished, not blued. This gun is going to be Cerakoted in the end, so they're going to paint this. And Cerakoting covers a lot, multitude of sins. If you scratch it or ding it, it's not the end of the world. If you're bluing that, or if it's already blued, that's the worst thing. If it's already blued, then you've got to be careful as if you're handling a newborn to not scratch that blue, and that makes it even harder because you end up taking it off and putting it back on multiple times to check it for fit, and then take it off so you don't scratch the blue, because you can scratch the blue with one little pass of sandpaper. Whereas if it's not finished yet, you have a little more leeway. If it's stainless, it's even better. You just polish stainless out. If you get past this little crotch right here, the rest of it rolls on pretty good. If you can spend an hour or two, or I can, fooling with this little bitty crease. But if you don't do it right, you know, you're talking about a stock that costs many hundreds of dollars. If you don't do it right, you get a bad name. The Bible says a good name is rather to be had than great riches. And I agree with it. I realize I'm sanding across the grain. And if I left it there, that would show. I'm not going to leave it like that. I'm going to come back and go with the grain. But to achieve fairness, sometimes you've got to use that across the grain method, motion. Because when you get finer and finer sandpaper, when you get down to 400, you can go across the grain and you can't even see it. This is what I was talking about this crease having to be symmetrical from both sides. There are certain places and certain kinds of wood that require almost metalworking techniques. Hard rock maple, curly maple, heavy burled walnut, things like that. You almost have to work with them like metal, because if you work with them like wood, they just chatter too much. There's too much figure in there. They're too hard. And you either burn it. Cherry, very easily burned. Maple, pretty easy to burn. And it's hard to sand the burn out. Once you get that burnt mark in there, oh, you have to sand it about a ½ inch deep just to get that burnt mark out of there. So, you end up working with some things with metalworking tools, files, and things like that, as opposed to cutting with like woodworking tools. It saves you time in the long run, even though it's quite a bit slower to start with. It saves you time in the long run. I like it. And that grain is going this direction, so I have to go this way. Turn around and going this way would be digging into the grain. It just open it up so bad I'd never get it all closed up. I've got the bottom of this crease, bottom of the stalk, from there to there is pretty well finished. It may need a little bit of fine sanding when I'm done, but I've got the bottom of it pretty well shaped. You can see it's kind of fat right here on the sides. It's just too thick right there. And since I haven't really worked on on the sides much, it's not going to hurt anything. I'm fixing to take this rasp to it. But you can only see from the angle I just showed you. I'll thin this down on the pistol grip on the sides. I can only do it with symmetry if my light is in the center and I'm dead over the top of it looking down. Remember I said something about a little dip straight down below the comb? That's right there. This thing goes from fat, tapers down to a little dip, gets fat again around the grip, and then comes in. That's on a rough cut, that's pretty close. Now I'm going to flip it on its side, work on the right and left side, and bring it from this contour where this is to where that is. If I just connect this to this, it'll be symmetrical. Because I've chewed all this out, I have to put a block. This is a piece of hard maple, and it's pretty smooth. I got one side that says rough and one side that says smooth, and I try not to beat this side up too much. This one I hammer on and I bang on it and everything else. But if I can put this block right across these flat surfaces here, I can bridge over the part that's milled out, and it gives me something to hold on to it. And then I've got a taper to deal with on this bottom side, and I have blocks that are tapered. See how that block is thicker on one end than the other? Now the side of this thing, I move my light, you can see all those dips and shadows and irregular places and grinder marks and all that. I think I'm about smooth enough, just go straight to a 50 grit block. That's a lot of sanding. What I'm looking for is scratches from a heavier grit. I'm using 180 paper right now, and I know what 180 scratches look like. If I've got any scratches left over from the 150 or coarser, then I'm not done sanding with 180. The paper that I use is a Freud brand. It's the hook and loop stuff that you can put on a DA sander, and I use it for hand sanding because it just lasts so long, and it cuts very well. It doesn't leave a lot of marks. It's a really good quality paper. If I'm going to spend half my life sanding it, I'm not going to be beating my brains out with some inferior paper that wears out real quickly. So I'm willing to pay a little more for my paper and buy the good stuff. It does a better job, and it saves me a lot of time. You can start to see the fiddleback coming out. See these little stripes? And whenever that's finished, those stripes will be a lot more accented. They're like the vertical stripes on a smallmouth. I think my wedge tapered block is not the right amount of taper because it's not holding that very well. Start to get kind of sassy. Well, thanks for choosing to spend your time here with me today. I hope you've enjoyed this program. I'll try to post a new segment each weekend. In addition, if you'd like to read about a stock that I made and then it took a 20-foot free fall, click on the link at the bottom of this page. It's called The Broken Gun. It's a story I wrote a few years ago about my two boys. Sometimes life's hard and things get broken. Now and then we get a chance to fix them. I'm so grateful for the opportunity I had to repair this broken stock. It led to a restoration that I never could have imagined. As always, if you like this video, please click the like button and share this with your friends. Have a great day.